on Jesus, all things are possible. I can mount on wings like eagles and soar. When I call on Jesus, mountains are gonna fall. 'Cause he'll move heaven and earth to come rescue me when I call.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another It Is Possible Tuesdays with Sanya, and I have a very, very, very special guest with me. I have known this person since I've been a teenager, okay? And it's been wonderful to eventually have him on the podcast. It has been a while in getting it on board, but it has happened, and we are so grateful. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be inspired. You're going to be moved. Ladies and gentlemen, it is possible Tuesdays. I just want to remind you, the Bible says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for prosperity and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, "With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Once again, welcome to another It Is Possible Tuesdays with Sanya. My special guest today is a father, a husband, a professional. He works in the medical field, a devoted believer, and has the name of a king. I'm going to ask him to tell us his full name.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for having me on your program. Louis James, of course, the two names actually.
But kingly names.
King Louis, King James.
Exactly.
Louis did this and Louis did that, but fine.
Yes. So let me ask you something, Louis. Who named you?
That's a good one. I think it's my mom, because there's a middle name I have that I don't like.
Really?
Which I guess you know. You may not remember it because it's something that I didn't use much. And Lyn, I said, "Mom, why did you give me that name? I didn't even like it. It's like a Chinese name." So Louis Lyn James. I said I didn't even like to call that name. I didn't mention it. No, it's only when it comes to some official documents or something. Probably it's the first time I'm going public saying this.
It's a beautiful name, and it's all a part of making you unique. Where were you born, and what was your upbringing like?
Well, I was told I was born in Miketown, Mandeville. Well, Miketown in Manchester, which is close to Mandeville. It's probably one of the adjacent communities of Pimento Hill, Greenville, somewhere up in the cuts between those two. I'm not very great at these things, but I think that's where. And but my mother relocated long after I was born to somewhere in Waltham, which is on the way to NCU, that community there. And for the most part, I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot of things when I was growing up. But for the most part, my mom and my father and we were my two brothers, and we pretty simple. For the part I can't recall. I know I'm going back to my town for holidays, and that's where more the country was. We didn't have much, didn't have any electricity like that. It was the billy or the torch and the local streets and that kind of thing, which was really cool. But when we're back in Waltham, I don't remember a lot of stuff. All I remember is that I was bawling then when I was supposed to go to school the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to go. It just separation kind of thing. But to be honest with you, I know you're gonna have some challenges with this interview because my memory seems to be
no.
I don't know if
no challenges at all.
Yes.
So let me ask you
was
something,
pretty cool. Yeah.
Are you the firstborn or the middle child or the last one?
I'm more like the middle. But tell you what, for my mom, and this is what I'm typically probably in Jamaica, where for my mom, I was the middle one. My mother had 5 children. Well, she had 5 children alive that's living, but she had the last child, she had died. She had that child in her latter part of her 40s. So but outside of that one, I was the middle one. So you had 2 older ones and 2 younger ones. My father now, well, my father, well, he had a lot of children all over the place. And so I can't tell, I don't know where I lie. Some people are still not sure.
So, but you have a typical Jamaican upbringing then. You had mom, you had father, dad, and you had your siblings. What was the
Yeah.
relationship like with your siblings and your parents? Were you close-knit? Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
All right. Well, my brothers, the two older ones were not really living with us most for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, in the earlies, but in my conscious recollection, they were not with us more than once. But they might want, but the younger ones, the two younger ones, we lived together, we grew up together, pretty good relationship. But I guess they were. For the most part, we had a good relationship. I don't think we had,
Yeah.
probably typical siblings,
Typical
sibling
sibling.
rivalry, this
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
But we grew up pretty cool. We were living in the same room, on the same bed, and that like that. My parents, no, I was more closer to my mother. I was never really close to my father. My father, even though I was the one who do all the cooking and the washing and the cleaning and the ironing and everything, because my mother didn't have any girls, so I was the one who did everything. I mean, I didn't like it initially at first in my early, like in my 11, 12, but after a while, I get to like it. I start, well, because everything, basically, wash, when I don't want to go anywhere, I wash, well, not wash all our clothes, but like I wash the basics. And
Yes. Yeah.
the cooking, she tell me to cook and to go to supermarket and then to go to market and then go to supermarket. So I used to do that routine every week and do cooking as well. So even up to when I was the A levels, I was beside the kerosene stove with my book in my hand and studying, so on. I was doing everything. So my mother and I were pretty close. My father, no, of course, I prepare the food for him and prepare his tea when he's almost home. So,
Yes.
everything, I was basically up to that, up to late in the evening. So that's basically what it's like. But my mother and I were more close, but she never did tell me her secrets, probably because I'm not a girl, because I didn't, and some of the stuff that I didn't know until when she was basically, when she had passed on, and some of the stuff them in the latter part, which I was really grieved about, that she was probably suffering a lot and I didn't know. But the little that I recall, my mom and I were really more, because I was the one who paid the bills. Because I used to think that my father was the one who owned the house. I didn't realize that it was my mom. She was a dressmaker. All right. Of course, both of them are deceased. So my mom was a dressmaker. So I thought it was my father, blah, blah, blah. But I realized, but wait, when I'm the one who was paying, she's the one paying the mortgage. She normally let me pay, but do everything, pay bills, shopping, everything, and then I'll go home and so on. So that's when I found out when I was paying the last mortgage rate. So I said, all right, it's the last one. Remember going to Caribbean Housing Finance, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we're pretty close in that respect because we
Yeah.
were.
So from a very early age, you had a lot of responsibility. And I know you said initially you didn't like the cooking and the cleaning and what have you, but how has that made an impact on your life?
Wow, a lot. Trust me. I know, no, seriously, I could cook. I'm saying that my daughter was gonna laugh. I said, really, daddy? Because I mean, I did everything. I mean, literally my hands are probably still soft, but I could really cook well. I mean, I could cook well. I understand all the cleaning because I used to clean the house. I mean, after all, I get to enjoy it to the point that my wife, even though my mom will not wash anything, I still have the habit of taking forever. Not because I don't know what to do. I'm thorough and I really
Yes.
find myself staying there at the sink and thinking about, is like a way of reflecting. And while I'm washing, so I'm washing everything. And seriously,
Therapeutic.
yeah, man. And then of course, so I mean, like I know what cleanliness is about. I mean, you don't have to carry me around in the street. I know. I when I saw my wife and saw my wife or my wife, but before we got married, I said, well, clearly, I wonder if she can beat me. And I mean, my wife beat me so well. I mean, at cooking and everything, but because she was very good. But to be told, I really appreciated cleanliness. I appreciated what it means. I mean, I enjoy cooking because that was every day for me. I enjoy washing. I mean, seriously, I can do anything and everything. And
Anything,
not do it. It's one thing to do it, is another thing to
but to
enjoy.
enjoy it. And you
Yes, and
obviously
I really
enjoy it.
appreciate my mother. I really have to give God thanks. Even though probably because she didn't have any girls, because we boys when we grew up, the girls were the ones in the kitchen. But I was
Yeah.
in the kitchen, we cleaning the house. So when my wife and I we do everything together. That's another thing. Every
Wonderful.
single thing we did together for a while because after a couple of years, my job started, but we
Yes.
cook, wash, clean, everything. So
The,
it
the,
really made a I really appreciated what I got when I was growing up. It never left me.
yeah. Nice. Lovely. Now, Louis, um, tell me a little bit about what school was like for you. You had this responsibility at home, but you also had to go to school. Was school fun? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Was it a relief for you, or was it just a part of growing up?
Ah, a mixture of everything. School was, I mean, first when you start going to school for the first, it was really kind of, well, a little anxiety. You don't really know anybody, but it was a new experience, and so you didn't know what to expect and all of that. But after you start meeting the friends and everybody, school was like something like that part of my life that I really appreciated because I mean, when you go home, you're just going to go home to the same
The
routine,
simple
cook, wash,
thing.
clean, everything. But when you go, you
Yeah.
meet your friends, them are people you just see, and you have different experiences in school and the challenges and so. So it was really it's everything. I mean, I look forward to it, and there are times when I really don't mind my other aspect of my life when I'm at home because it's a balance. And so I really like it. But school was really, to be honest with you, my first couple of years, first form, second form, I really did not kind of know. I didn't have a mentor, and I'm not complaining, but it's really the reality. I didn't really understand in much. I didn't have a motivation. I just go to school for go to school sake. I do the work, because I didn't idle. I really was not the kind of person who really, well, probably I was idling. I probably was idling for real because I realized that I was coming like the bottom of the class, out of a class of 50, like out of the bottom 10. Some in the 40s are getting, but it never seemed to bother me. I never
Oh,
seemed to
that
be
is
motivated. Nothing seemed like anything, like I was doing
like a
anything
push.
wrong. My mother now and then would ask me a thing or two, but I was just there. It's not until when I reach about, because getting like 44, coming 44, 43, 46 in class, or 50, 39 or 30, that's what our grades were pretty. And I can't even, all I recall was that when I got to third form, it's like I was sleeping and I woke up. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
woke up in like the middle, in the first third of third form. Because even the streamlining and they say, "Are you gonna do this?" Or the streaming, which school you were gonna do, what you're gonna want, and so. But to be honest with you, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know what I wanted. I just know I was doing stuff in school. But I woke up like I was sleeping, and all of a sudden, I just felt motivated. I said, all right, I want to get first in class one of these days. And I'm serious, and I found myself my grades are going up. It's like I just start doing work, I start concentrating. I don't know what happened all the first 2 years of my
The
life.
light clicked, the
I was
light
giving more
clicked.
trouble. I just was distracted. I don't know. It's not like I had a lot of friends that I'm running up and down with. I just didn't know. But third form, trust me, it's like I woke up and it's that form, that's where everything basically started to change. I
Yeah.
start getting like coming in the top 10 in class, and the last term of third form, I came first. I started to tell myself, I'm gonna come first, I'm gonna work towards it. So that's when things start to change. So I started to feel more confident in myself. I started to believe. I start to, think. I start more confidence. I start to do things that I probably never thought I could do because I have this kind of platform that I felt better. I'm start doing better now. I said, look here, I can do well, man. If I get a grade like 70, by the way, 70 was not like a grade. People are using better grades than
But
me.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But, and I start helping people. I start
Yeah.
helping classmates. Because I felt so much better with myself.
Seeing
I don't know.
yourself.
Probably I had some issues, that I can't really
Mm.
clarify everything. But
But but you eventually school took on a different view for you. When did you decide that you wanted to be a professional and actually work in the medical field?
I'll tell you, that's something else. And even though I did, and I'm not saying it this way, even though I was gaining confidence and we had careers day, and I mean, we normally have something like that at Manchester School. For some reason, I just did not know what I want. And as I said, I never had a mentor. You have to have a mentor to have that. But I just
Yes.
never, even though I was able now to have confidence and everything, and I was doing pretty well, I did not know what I want. And in fact, I want to tell you a serious joke. Even when I was in sixth form, I still not sure. I remembered when I was in sixth form and I went into the market, a couple of my friends, I went there to buy something. And this junk man, they were there, the hand reader thing. I don't think they were not to see those things. And of course, I never really did. I was never a religious person until I left, until when I went to university. But I remembered that they were doing this hand read. This man, he was junk, and there were people were putting this, put your hand in it, and he will read it and all kind of stuff. And of course, my friends were saying, I remember when we were the friends at the time, say I was in sixth form, and just to show you how I did not really have anything in my mind. And he was saying, my friend said, go ahead and put your hand in. I said, look, I don't believe him, I'm drunk, I'm not doing it. And you know what the man said? I still found it interesting. Against my friends, I didn't really want to do it, but they said, do it, man. I just want to put small change. And well, I didn't pay the money. But they put my hand there, and the man put his finger in my hand middle, and I said, oh, well, you're brain boxing me. Oh, really? Because I know I know I wasn't doing so well. I mean, I was doing well, but average in sixth form. It's not like I was doing a great thing, right? But when he said, you're going to be a doctor now, kind of stuff. To be honest with you, up to this day, I am saying, did God use that junk, man? Can you use a donkey, use an ass, use anything?
Can use
to tell me something that he said, you're going to be a doctor, a medical doctor. You know, only because I'm my wife. You have one sixth form. He said, no, he said, really? I mean, I did not have anything in my mind about anything. I just know that I said, all right, whatever. I know I did a career there. I remember stuff, but I just don't know. I just couldn't make up my mind what I want, and I didn't know. But that was the only thing I remembered. And not until after I left sixth form and was at a point. But because you asked me at this point, I just asked you to tell you that I didn't have anything in my mind. I mean, I see different things, but just to show you how probably jumbled I was, not focused. Because when I did my exams in fifth form, I did, just to show you, I dropped POB, which I mean, POB was easy, and yet I dropped it probably because of the teacher. By the way, the teacher was not a bad person, but I just never enjoyed the class. I dropped POB, which was easy. I did accounts because I feel comfortable with it. You notice the two should be going together, right? Yeah. I did accounts, I did geography, I did chemistry, which I love. I did maths, which I love. And I dropped French and Spanish, which I did well in. I just was dropping things. It just in all over the place. I did not put things together. I said, okay, these go together. Look here, man, you want to do this? I just did not. And that's sort of classic reflection of the fact that I did not know what I want. And I was just doing things, but I like what I want, but I feel like I'm doing. But I was thinking, well, it was going. I just said I wasn't have the vision about French and Spanish. Coming in the future, the global village is going to be such that you're going to need those things. They're going to help you. I did well in them, but I just dropped them in fifth form and dropped POB, which I was doing well in. I just dropping stuff of accounts, just imagine accounts, geography, chemistry, maths, and I didn't have physics.
Quite eclectic.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that reflected that I didn't really.
I think for most, you're typical, Louis, because I remember that my combination was just as all over the place. I did what I knew I enjoyed, and that wouldn't stress me too much. I love reading, so I did literature.
I'm the opposite to you. I didn't like reading at all.
I didn't like maths. I didn't like maths. I was terrified of maths, and thank God for Miss Forbes, who was my teacher from second form right up to fifth form, and she sitting right at the front. Okay, and poor Miss Forbes had to work with me, but you eventually came through in spite of all of that. What you have described as you having no focus, you did well enough. And after sixth form, what was your next step? Did you say, okay, I'm going to work or I'm going to go to uni? What was the next step, and what did you actually choose?
All right. I think it's more going about what actually chose me in a sense.
All right.
But after sixth form, I applied for one or two places to see if I get. In fact, I tried Alcan, I tried different places because I got some pass. I got the grades were not that great grades. Actually, I passed chemistry and maths, but they were not great grades in A levels. And I remember what I said. Geography was really tough. I didn't get that. And I did, but what happened is that when I left sixth form, I tried different places, didn't get through. The hard program I'd only gone a couple of years and it just come in school leavers program, on the job training and blah, blah, blah. And the only thing a friend told me said, okay, hey, you better try, because I waited for nearly a year before I got something. And that was really a hard opportunity through the hard program where, more like on the job thing or school
A bit
leavers
of
thing.
apprenticeship.
Right. So I went and of course, just to show you how dark I was so shy back then, still shy now too. What happened is that there was a bank thing, a couple of persons have and a bank opportunity to be a teller and stuff like that. Of course, I'm so dark. I just don't, you know what I mean, dark, I just shy and just can't face up to people. I'm not even get used to talking to people much apart from my peers at high school. So when I saw we being interviewed, there was I wouldn't call it a short list, because but there were quite a number of persons were being interviewed and right about thing. I said, no, I don't want this one. So I was happy that I didn't do, I didn't know what they chose, but I didn't know, I don't know if I just deliberately did something bad on the paper, because I don't want them to choose me for that banking opportunity. Well, the next one was a pharmacy at Hargrave's Pharmacy at the time. And that's where things really took off, because when I went there, I said, all right, this looks less number of people, I thought. Now, remember, pharmacies a lot of people. But initially, when I went there, the place looked so quiet, nothing much going on. And they interviewed me and they said, all right, Louis, take this one. And I said, all right, it's not a bank, which a lot of people. Well, of course, that was where now I spent a couple of years. That was at like 87, where was I? No, 85. I left 6 from 85.
85.
So I spent 2 years there. And to be honest with you, that's where I started to learn to relate to people, enjoy communicating, because I didn't know that I could, and my boss was saying, look here, Louis, man, I learned everything in the storeroom. That's where I was first. I was even washing that, we're cleaning off bottles. And they said, one of my friends who became a pharmacist and a pharmacy owner, years after, she actually was saying, Louis, what are you doing here? You did 6 form and you're cleaning bottles. She wasn't trying to belittle me. She was saying, no.
Yeah. She was trying to encourage.
You can't be staying here. This is not where you belong. And I mean, I was just saying, but I felt comfortable washing the bottles alone, because it's not like you're doing much. And I mean, I was happy for the $75 a week that I can probably save, but I couldn't save much, because that's what you're getting for the time, for the week. But it was, that was the few years when it really made a difference on my life. Because he started saying, look, Louis, I was able to communicate with people more. I mean, I didn't like it first. And I started to be they started asking me to do a lot of stuff. They started saying, you go and talk to the patient. Louis, you check the thing. I was like, I know all what is in the storeroom. So it was like, I really started to excel in those areas. And I loved everything, but I still have a little shyness. But they said, Louis, but you talk to the people, so nice. You talk to them. You handle the medication. You do this. You explain everything. And that was how I started again. And then they said to me, Louis, I think you should try, and do pharmacy at UTech. I said, look, my mother don't have my money. And so my mother was basically a single parent, didn't know my father was there.
Yes.
Was there. But I go, typical. So I know that we never really had it. And I said, boy, I don't have it. And you know what he said to me? My boss said to me, Louis, just believe. God will help you. I mean, of course, I want to go visit church once in a blue moon or whatever. I never really had that thing. So when he said that, I still never really had that thing. But long and short of that story is that I eventually got convinced, and I applied to UTech for pharmacy. Still never know the money part was going. And I applied, Dr. Allen at the time, Custos, now deceased. He still had connections with Consolidated Health Services and Alpart, I think. And there was this program, I don't remember, it's MassFed program, I think, something like that, where they offer grants. I didn't know if it was a grant or what it was. I don't know that. I went to him and he said, write up something, Louis. Because Dr. Allen, Dr. Faulkner, Dr. Singh, and so were at Hargraves at the time in the 80s. And so they said, look, man. So I applied, but nothing, I didn't hear anything. And then I said I had to still go through, because I got through to UTech. Oh, by the way, English, I didn't get English until the last. Oh, and I didn't tell you this, that after I went during the time with Hargraves during the Heart program thingy, that I went back to evening classes and got some more subjects. I did and got some more subjects. But with biology, which I didn't do so well because I didn't really feel like I liked the subject. I did it over. I did some other subjects over. Or I did some. So that was where I got some more subjects. And while I was at the program. So when they told me to go, I got through at UTech. And they said, yeah, man, you do well, man. You work in pharmacy for a couple of years. you did A level this, you did that. Whether the grade was not the greatest, but they were saying, look here, man, you sound like the right kind of person. You were pretty, I was at that time pretty more mature and understand what it was all about. So it was kind of like, look here, Lou, you got through already. So that was it for UTech.
The Lord placed you in the right place at the right time with the right people. And in spite of your not knowing what you wanted and where you wanted to go, it worked out. Now,
yes.
You said you only visited church once in a blue moon. How was your relationship with God? How has it developed over time?
Well, all right. If I may say this, the few recollections that I remember, I know that my mother, usually on a Sunday, she just said, look here, you guys are going to church. So she put us on a vehicle who normally come for us. And they come and pick us. And that's when we were younger. So that was the early days. Nothing much really more than just going to church. Say go to church. But when I went to UTech, I visited church a couple of times when I was at the Hargreaves, the Hard program. But when I went to UTech now, you have a lot more minds that you got to eventually to go and dorm. And then these guys who are religious guys, everybody come with their religious
different
persuasion.
views.
They know it's not, if it's not politics or school, it's gonna be religion. And they're talking about God and talking about this and that. And of course, my roommates invited me to attend church with him a couple of times. That was Adventist, and he said, you want to come with me to church? I said, well, all right, even though I know I go to church a couple of times, visit Adventist church, boy, I come like it just, in my mind, it kind of boring. And then now, the whole day thing, I said, no, man, I can't see a church whole day. But anyway, I followed him a couple of times, and I started to visit. I mean, I find, because I didn't really have that aspect of my life that was really, never
religious.
Yeah, I didn't, I mean, I believe in God because I remembered when I was in my teens and I realized I discovered that my father was married already before he met my mother, which was another story, which not at all story. But when I just found out that, and then he wasn't really, it's not like he was a bad man. It's just that he was not really relating. I realized that he was not fulfilling commitments, that you expect when you see as a youth and you see what's going on. So I said to myself, I said, God, I mean, I was not really have a relationship with him. I just say it. I said, God,
yes.
I want to get married and I want 2 children and I want to just stay stable. And I mean, and I said it more because of what I was seeing more than what I actually was saying, boy, I go to church and I want. So I said, God, I want that. And then because, when they went now to UTech and I saw they inviting me, and over time, I realized that I was just going and I get to like it, but I was not baptized.
Yeah.
So when I got baptized, eventually people were saying, but that's what you're a Christian all along. Become cool still,
Exactly.
Cool. I was like, when I grew up, I was more the domesticated one. I was more, as I told you. I never go out to clubs. If I go almost one, I can probably count it on probably one hand. I never used to go out anyway. I was stay home and cook and wash and clean and study and that's it. I never do anything. So I was really more, people just think I'm a Christian already. So when I was in tech, I just go, I was cool and so people thought about that. But so when I got baptized, they say, I thought you were baptized a long time. So, that was really the journey being. That was when I was in 1989. 1989, I got baptized, right? So 2 years after, about when I almost finished UTech, right? That's my penultimate year. I got baptized that time. And I was really, seriously, it was just the Lord, trust me. Just the Lord. I mean, just to show you how much I was in the Lord. Like, I know a lot of women and young people, young men, women rather, but get myself in trouble here. A young man would want that want to get married and, you reach UTech and you meet the girl you like and all of that. But from I got baptized, it was like, just the Lord I want. I said, Lord, I don't even want to get married right now. I just want to just settle with the Lord. I just want to go home and worship and pray. And that's all I was doing. And the same guy who actually encouraged me to get baptized and everything, he was saying, Lou, you'll be like a fanatic, you just come home, you just worship, because I was just want to go home and worship and pray and study. I mean, I used to do a lot, So he was saying, come out and we go out, no man. So he had his girlfriend, and I was saying I should talk about a girlfriend. I mean, I'm attracted to women, but I just never really felt like I wanted to settle down. I just want to serve God. You know what happened? Long and short of that story, I got married before him. And,
wow.
And then, of course, he got married a year after. So it's like when God really on your side, because I say I'm not gonna get married at all. I don't plan anything. By the way, I was at youth, I was at KPH at the time. And we were doing internship then I started working at KPH in pharmacy. And I met this young lady. I said, man, all of my plans about no man, not married, no man, not ready yet.
Truth.
I don't want that. When I started all of that going through the window, I was saying, what's happening to me, man?
Oh, Louis, what I'm hearing is that things happen in your life even without your planning for them. But
Yeah.
as I started off my program with saying God has a plan for
Yes,
you. And so
real.
everything that has happened in your life has been directed by Him, and you have now recognized it and you're falling in line with Him. You've had some
Amen.
experiences, you've had some revelations about your family, but everything that has happened to you, everything that you've experienced has led you to where you now are. You got baptized in 1989. You're working at KPH. You met the love of your life. You are married. You are a father of how many children? And are they children or are they adults? Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. Well, yeah, my wife, we've been married now well, we got married. I got back to 89. We got married in 93. And I had said that, look here, I'm not ready for any children. But to be honest, I still had this thing where I wasn't planning to get married because I was more thinking that the world was not gonna last. And then the wickedness I saw, I said, look here, I don't want to imagine anybody hurting my wife. I don't want to even imagine that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to have a children. But that was the mindset I had at the time. Not necessarily the healthiest one, but that's what I had at the time. I just don't want to marry that I have any attachment that I'm gonna have to get angry about anybody doing anything to my family. So that was one of the reasons. But the truth is that after I got married, we got married and then I said, all right, we're not ready for children yet. So we never, I think our first child that we had, she lost the first child. She was it was a normal pregnancy and everything. Everything was uncomplicated. Nothing issues, no big deal. But that day when I went and the child died at birth, we don't
Oh
sure
no,
what was
sorry.
right. But that was the first one. But after that, of course, one way to get to that way of bad experience is to get another one. So, she had the girl, which was Abby. Abby's now 24. My son is 22. They came 2 years after, Stephen. So, yeah, it has been really good. I really appreciate the marriage has really taught me a lot. I mean, it really, you can't really, if you really love somebody and the person love you, you can't really appreciate, if you don't have that, you can't really appreciate marriage for what it is. And I really appreciated it. And the children, I used to wonder what the children look like. And of course, it's really nice. And I really love them. I mean, it really, I feel so, I used to say, okay, I don't want these things. No one, if God, He knew that probably I couldn't be saved unless get me married to somebody because you don't know what God gonna need to use to get you to where you need to be spiritually.
Yeah.
And I thought that looking back, that God really he said, look here, you need to get married that you can better appreciate some spiritual insight that I'm trying to teach you. And it's really been a wonderful journey. I mean, my wife is the perfect wife. You're gonna tell me, say, look here, every man who said that. My wife is perfecto. I'm serious. And by the way, it doesn't mean that we don't have
But
challenges.
not of course not.
Of course, we're living in a world, but to be honest with you, and I'm not a person who run down food. I mean, my wife keep on telling me, say, okay, man, you need to eat. But to be honest with you, I don't think anyone can cook better than my wife. And I'm serious. At church, they always want my wife, they want my wife food. And seriously, if you ever see what my wife does, she do the best all the time. And she's very benevolent. She really knows how to take care of children. She knows how, and she's a businesswoman in her own right. She's a spiritual person in her own right. Of course, I don't know. I would have picked someone who was spiritual because I believe I was so spiritual back then. I don't know. I think I'm probably equally now. So she really balanced out everything. She's a good businesswoman. She knows to manage. She's the one who manages the business, actually. All of that. I mean, she manages it. I think I can't find an aspect of her life that I can say she's short on. She's motherhood, wife, everything. Spiritual.
God knew who you wanted and who you needed to become who you now are. Yes. And what, Louis, I've always admired your cool approach. For me, at school, you were just a nice guy, and I was, for me, I was able to talk to you, which is, I never used to talk to nobody. But as
Yeah, I
I
used to
had a
love
good
that. Yes, you're
relationship
cool.
with you, you know, and for me, the fact that I still remember you as one of the guys from high school that I could talk to and had a good relationship with meant a lot, you know. And I always thought you were a Christian because of how you always carried yourself, how you always behaved. And it, it talks about the fact that God has had his hand in your life and on you, even without your knowing and recognizing. And when you recognized it, the outpouring and the love and the devotion that you wanted to have with him was powerful for you. You spoke to him before and said, I want to get married and I want to have 2 children, and the Lord presented the perfect
Amen.
person for you. And yes, everybody says their wife is perfect, but the perfect person was presented to you. And the Bible talks about the person, if you find a wife, you find a good thing, but
Amen.
in your case, it's more than good, it's an excellent
When
thing.
I call on Jesus, all things are possible. I can mount on wings like eagles and soar. When I call on Jesus, mountains are gonna fall. 'Cause he'll move heaven and earth to come rescue me when I call.
I just want to remind you that you must be a dreamer, a doer, a thinker, see possibility everywhere. Because you are alive, everything is possible. But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. I'll see you next time on It Is Possible Tuesdays with Sanya. Thank you and goodbye.
When I call on Jesus, all things are possible. I can mount on wings like eagles and soar. When I call on Jesus, mountains are gonna fall. 'Cause he'll move heaven and earth to come rescue